Hi everyone, it's Karen here. Welcome to another video with me and Lavinia Stamps. And today I'm going to share with you how I created this lovely greeny blue card with the two dancing fairies in the forest. The background that I've created is using brushes. I've used turquoise and lemon. So that's a blue and a yellow, and you know the blue and yellow make green. So that's how we've got the blues, the yellows and the greens in the background there. I've got a bit of embossing here, and I've embossed Mystic Swirl, which is the stamp at the background. I've got Tree of Hope and Tree of Courage here, and I'm using one of the fairy charm sets here, which is the lovely heart. And then in the bottom here I've got some Twisted Vine set using two colours in VersaFine Clair, that's Verdant and Green Oasis. I've got Nocturne for my stamping, but I'm also using the Silhouette Grass and the Orchard Grass for some more depth at the bottom. And then I've splattered it to create a little magical feel with my white Posca pen. I'm using my embossing pad again for the embossing there. I've got my smoothie where I've used it around the edge. And then I've got pine needles again to create a frame around our whole picture. So I'm using A6 card, multifarious cardstock, which is 300 GSM. We will get started. Now, for the purposes of this video today, I'm going to use a piece of acetate or plastic here. Normally I would put it straight onto my mat, but because I want it to be clean and nice for you on this video, I'm just going to put it onto my plastic sheet. So I'm going to take two colours of my brushes, and I'm just going to put, these are, if you haven't used them, they are highly pigmented watercolour powder. You saw a tiny bit there of the blue and a tiny bit of the lemon. Using my spritzy bottle, I'm going to water them down. Now, if you haven't used brushes, you can use this now to paint with, to smush on your card. So I'm just going to create a runny mess. And then I'm going to pick it up like that, and as you can see, blue and yellow make green. Now you want this contrast in your background, because if you look at what we've done here, we've got this lovely contrast happening. So I'm just going to carry on smushing it, picking up the blues and the greens and the yellows. Now I want a tiny bit more yellow in here. So you want to put enough water in it so that there are none of the crystals left, because we want this to be a lovely smooth background, not full of pigmented crystals. There we go. I'm just going to pick up a bit in the middle there. Fabulous. So now I've got this lovely greeny blue background. I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to dry my card and I'll come back to you. So here we have it, lovely and dry, and now I'm going to put my Tree of Courage and my Tree of Hope either side of this card. I'm going to leave a bit of space at the bottom so that we can put the grass here, and a bit of space at the top so that we can put that magical Mystic Swirl at the top. So a bit of space at the bottom, bit of space at the top. Now I am using my stamping platform here, just because the texture that created by the brushes sometimes means that my stamps don't come out as crisp as I would like. So I'm going to use the platform in this instance. So what we want is we want to create this little fairy den here that our lovely two fairies can play inside. Then I'm just going to switch it round and do the same for my Tree of Hope. As always, I just clean my stamps with a bit of water and my cloth. And I'm just going to pop this the other side. And it's okay that they meet in the middle. Look, some of these branches are overlapping. Again, I'm trying to create this lovely enclosed look. With my nocturne. I love these two trees. There are so many things you can do with them. So there you have this lovely enclosure here. I'm just going to clean this off before I put it away. I do like to clean my stamps off before I put them away, because then next time I know they're clean when we come back to it. So now this background is slightly lighter than this one, but I'll show you how we're going to darken it around the edge. And it's okay that the center is a little lighter. If you wanted it darker, I would dry it off and reapply the brushes before you're stamping. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to stamp some of this foliage at the bottom. And to do that, tear a piece of copy paper, get an edge, just a random edge like that. And we're going to take Verdant and Green Oasis, and I'm just going to stamp some of this. This has to be, look at this, one of my favorite stamps. There's so much interest in that. You've got texture, thin and thicker leaves there. It's kind of twirling and swirling, just fabulous. So I'm just using my piece of paper to mask off some of the areas so that my little vine can pop up, see, in different places in my little fairy glen. That's enough with Green Oasis. No, with Verdant. My Green Oasis is the darker colour. And I'm just going to ink that up and do the same. Pop a few of those in and around the base of the trees here at different heights, because that's going to create interest and variety, as you would expect in a little forest setting. That one looks a bit contrived, doesn't it? There we go. Lovely. Then I'm going to pop some of my silhouette grass. For that, I'm going to use the Green Oasis. It's the darker colour. And again, I'm going to have some of this just popping up over my mask, which is my copy paper. And some of it you just want it peeking through, and other ones you might want longer stems. There we go. Just different heights, variety. Stamping over them, so it just makes it look more textured. Then we're going to take our orchard grass. Where's our orchard grass? I put it away. I was being so efficient. And for this, I'm going to use two tones in the greens, the lighter green first. And again, this is just going to pop up It's really soft and feathery, as grass is. And if it's anything like my grass, we've got more of these floaty bits than we have the beautiful manicured pieces of the grass. So I'm just going to put some of these popping up here and there. Different heights in and around the base of our lovely trees. Then I'm going to emboss it. So we've kind of done a bit of decoration at the bottom, and now we're going to do a bit of decoration around the top. And always when I'm embossing, I will use my anti-static pad. So inside here is some French chalk, and that just means that it's going to clear any of the oiliness that I had in my fingers, anything that was sticky onto the card, so that when we put our embossing powder on it, it's less likely to stick. Note, I didn't say it's not going to stick, just that it's less likely to stick. So I'm using my Versamark ink pad, it's a lot stickier than our normal ink pads. And I'm just going to pop 2 of these Mystic Swirls along the top edge. And then I'm going to use Vanilla White. This is an opaque embossing powder. Don't forget, underneath it, my opaque embossing powder. A piece of paper underneath it to catch my powder. And I'm going to fold it in half to create a bit of a funnel. And always put the lid on. And then I'm just going to heat that. Now, if you were making several of these, you don't necessarily need to heat it straight away. Once you've embossed with your stamp pad, you do need to put the embossing powder on straight away, but you don't necessarily need to heat it straight away. You can create a production line if that's what you wanted, and then heat them all in one go. So I'll do that and I'll come back to you. So then I'm going to take my Distress Oxide in Pine Needles with my smoothie, and I am going to create a frame. It's quite a dark frame, but I'm going to create a frame all around the edge of my piece. I'm using this piece of acetate to protect the rest of my card because my fingers are a bit mucky and I don't want that in places that I don't want it. So I always frame my cards with a darker edge because that draws the eye to the center and kind of gives us even more of this framed look. There we have it. Look at that. So it was looking a bit light, but I quite like how it's turning out now. Now we're going to pop. This is the 3 set. They're 3 dancing fairies. They are so cute. So I'm going to put 2 of them facing each other. And I'm going to stamp those with Nocturne. I'm going to pop her here. And pop her facing the other one. And it looks as though they are touching, looking at this beautiful fairy charm. So again, you get 3 in this set. And I'm again inking it up in Nocturne, but I don't want the whole streamer or string. So I'm just going to wipe off the top bit of it so it only stamps at the bottom. Lovely. Then I'm going to take my white pen and just create a bit of a mark on my heart, which gives it that sort of 3-dimensional look. And then what I'm going to do finally is create some white splatters. You'll see a lot of splattering in my work just because I think it gives it the texture and an interest. And for this fairy scene, it sort of creates a bit of a magical little look. But because I don't want the fairies splattered, I'm just going to put the stamps over where they were and grab my Posca pen and create some splatters all over my card. So I'm just hitting it with the edge of my ruler. I guess you can just splatter it, but when I've ever done that without hitting it with another implement, I tend to land up with splatters where I didn't want splatters, and I don't like that. So I'm just going to now pick up my little fairies and I am going to clean them straight away because that is white acrylic paint in the Posca pens and I don't want that on my precious little stamps. So there we have it. That is what we have just created. You can mount that on a card. I probably will. And when I mount it, about a 3mm border on each side, and then I'll probably double mount it. This is the one that I did before, and all that's happened is that I had a bit more colour on with my brushos. But as I said, if you wanted it a bit darker, then just apply some more brusho once you've dried it. Or don't dilute the brushos as much as I did. So either or, I hope you've enjoyed that. I'd love to see what you makes. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back again soon. Bye for now.